comment, rate, subscribe, merch in the description. Check out our Facebook pages. We got marketplaces you can buy and sell stuff on. This is my Raditz hand control deck. 1 copy of the leader. 4 Fuse the Mouse of Deities Wrath. 4 Katsuna Beastly Maiden. 4 King Ko Supreme Ruler. 4 Piccolo Confronts Invasion. 4 Rebrian. 4 Android 21 A Bad Omen. 4 Android 18 Super Combo. 4 Encouraging President Manaka. 4 Big Amor. 4 Dormant Potential Unleash. 4 Bardock Paternal Unison. 4 Raditz Invader from Afar. 4 Vegeta Resolute Agent of Destruction. And 1 Majin Buu Kibito Kai Absorbed. We got the Bardock Unison with its auto to let you combo kill, which will let you place one of your opponent's cards in their combo area to the drop once per turn. You can use this on your turn and your opponent's turn, obviously. And you know, it's essentially a form of hand destruction, because if you attack and your opponent tries to combo to out combo your attack, and you use this to get rid of the card, they have to combo again in order to, you know, still try to out combo your attack. Which you normally want your opponent to try to out combo your attack. Obviously this is useless if your opponent just lets you deal them the damage, right? But if they don't want to take damage, this helps you force them to try to take damage, which is always good. Obviously combining this with Android 18 further reduces your opponent's hand size, as well as late game when you give your leader triple strike and try to go in for game using Bardock and Android 18 to reduce your opponent's hand size, so it makes it harder for them to out combo your attacks. And we got Encouraging President Monaco to give our leader double strike, so once we give our leader triple attack with its own effect, we then give it double strike. That way it could potentially do 6 damage by itself, or at least one of those double strike attacks will go through and finish your opponent off, because it shouldn't be that hard to get your opponent down to 2 life. You know, pretty basic. So that's pretty nice. So there's synergy there. This has the +1 ability. We may choose, you know, well, we don't get that effect, I forgot. There's no 1-drops in this deck, but you know, combo killing is all we really need. Raditz has the +1 ability where you choose a card from your hand and discard it. If you do, your opponent discards a card, and then you choose up to one of your cards and it gets a critical for the turn. So you can combine this with your leader, so you know, for its triple attack, and then give it double strike, so that way every time it does manage to do double strike damage, your opponent's not adding cards to the hands that they can use to try to out combo your next attack. And that's if you didn't already beat them by dealing them 2 damage, right? So there's that. And just being able to use the ability to give this card or any of your cards critical is always useful, because if you don't want to give your opponent any card advantage, anything they could use to try to out combo your attacks later, you know, late in the game. Then this has the -5 ability where your opponent chooses 3 cards from the hand, discard it. So combining that ability along with Android 18 to further, you know, weaken your opponent's hand. So let's say you have 2 Android 18s and you trigger this card's effect. That's 5 cards off out of your opponent's hand. Right? Let's say your opponent had 8 cards in the hands. Well, now they only have 3, and they have to try to contend with a 15k triple attack with double strike capabilities. In this type of situation, obviously the super combos will give you the extra 20k. So on the first swing, you'll be 35k double strike, and they'll only have 3 cards in the hands. And in order to out combo a 35k from a 15k leader, you need to get up to 40k, which means you'll need 25 combo power which will essentially be 2 super combos and a 5k. So hopefully those 3 cards is 2 super combos and a 5k, right? If you're gonna try to out combo this first attack. But then there's 2 more attacks you gotta contend with. So it's pretty badass that they upgraded and revamped this leader. I was checking the old leader, the old Raditz leader with this one. I do like the fact that it made it look green, because the old Raditz leader, every time I see it, I keep thinking it's a red leader, but it's actually a green leader. So I like the fact that they made sure that you knew this was a green leader, which is badass. And the old artwork in the back, he has his hands downward, shooting down. I like the fact that he has his hands up, shooting up, you know, raising the roof, right? So, you know, he going for them hands. So, gotta love that. And, you know, everything else is self-explanatory. You got 20k double strike crit over here with the +1 ability to be 25k double strike crit. And when you play, you can board wipe your opponent by, you know, ignoring barrier and KOing all your opponent's battle cards. Bigger more will floodgate protection for a turn, so can protect buy you an extra turn. Most people are playing 5 cost and higher, and they're cheating them out and stuff like that. So playing this to make it where they have to use 4 costs or less to try to attack you, you know, it's always a good idea. So this will make it hard for your opponent to use their finishers, which usually are 5 drop and above, from being able to attack you. So it gives you that extra turn, so you can try to set up the strategy of, you know, going for game with the leader, giving it to double strike, and ripping cards from your opponent's hand and going for game, right? And then we have Dormant Potential, obviously another floodgate negate, to further give you an extra turn, so that we can, you know, try to go for your deck's win con. So let's see. Ironically, though, I had Raditz in here, well, not Raditz, Nappa, but I took it out. The idea was originally was to use Nappa in the leaders, because the leader has an ability when it attacks, your opponent chooses 1 card from hand and sends it to the warp. In order for you to get the triple attack, you gotta take 4 cards that are not black in your opponent's warp and put it at the bottom of the deck in order to get the triple strike. I mean the triple attack. So the idea was to obviously swing with the leader and trigger that effect, rip a card out of their hand, and then use the Nappa Unison, which is a 3-drop, to make your opponent warp a card from the hand. So that way you will get 2 cards warped out of your opponent's hand. And this is a way to, you know, turbo it out. I took it out and decided to go just the basic hand destruction route. And then obviously you're gonna have to rely on swinging 4 times with the leader to trigger the effect. So you still can obviously do the triple attack. It's just you don't have the sped up version of this strategy that I originally was thinking of. I was like, I just rely on the leader's own ability to, you know, facilitate its own effect instead of trying to put in something extra into the deck to try to make it do what it can, you know, it should be able to do. So as soon as the game starts swinging, that's all I'm saying, right? And trigger that effect off. And then, you know, we got the Zamasu for more hand destruction. We got the Katsuna for the 2 energy negate on our opponent's turn, because our leader is green. And so this will cost 2 less during our opponent's turn. And we negate an attack, we play this card, and then when you play her, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So right there, you could potentially stop 2 attacks, or 2 threats, I should say, off of, you know, just off of 2 energy. King Code, negate an attack, play this card, and then when this card is played, your opponent can't attack your leader card for that turn unless they choose 1 card from their hand and place it and discards it each time. So it's basically a topo. And then we got the Piccolo Confronting Invasion. It's a counterattack blocker. So negate an attack, play this card, and then of course it's a blocker. You will be paying 3 for this because the leader is not Goku. But if the leader was Goku, this will be a 2 drop. Ribrianne, of course, your leader card is green. Pay 2 green energy. Remove this card from your warp, and then your opponent, from your drop area to your warp, and then your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hands and discard it. So of course you could combine this with like Android 18 and even Bardic First General Unison or Raditz ability to, and of course the leader's effect when you swing with it to further reduce your opponent's hand size, so that way it increases the chances of your attacks getting through. Another thing you can do obviously is swing, go in for some damage. Once your opponent add cards to the hands from their life, then start ripping cards out their hands through the effects of like Ribrianne. You can use Android 18 defensively to rip cards out of your opponent's hand. I've done that a couple times before, where my opponent will attack, do a combo, and it's like, all right, cool. Now I combo Android 18, right? Now you got to lose more cards from your hand, because it's a surprise attack in that regards. Then if you were to attack and then be like Android 18, because then your opponent's going to be strategic and they'll be like, all right, because Android 18 is the fact I'm gonna put this back in the deck and this, that, and third, and I'm gonna keep these cards so I can combo. You know what I mean? Because if you're in a scenario where your opponent attacks, right, and then they're like super combo, like, all right, cool, I play my super combos. Now you gotta rip cards from your hands. Like, shit, the cards in my hands are good cards and I needed them. They're my negates or something. It's like, yeah, now they're gone, right? Or they're battle cards that they plan to use or something, and now they're gone because one already uses up their super combos, right? You don't care, and then now you're ripping, good cards that they could have played from their hand, so they just gave up a whole bunch of hand advantage, and for nothing, because even if you don't out combo their attack, who cares? Your goal was to rip their hands, was to make their hands useless, and now you take a hit and plus a card, right? Or 2 cards if your opponent double striked you, right? And now your hand's getting thicker and their hands got smaller. That's what she said, right? Android 21 Bad Omen, for burn, for the obviously she's dedicated energy. Turn 1, you definitely want to charge her, so that we can set her up for late game where you can use her, to clutch out a victory. Because obviously you can swing, trigger the leader's ability, right? Give it the double strike, swing, trying to finish your opponent off. Let's say they stop your first 2 attacks. You go for the last attack, and they play one of those or sparking negate, or they use one of those hopefully not blocker negates. Let's just say a sparking negate, and they take a life and negate the attack. Right? Like Power Burst or something. I'll just say Power Burst. They use Power Burst, bang, they take a life and they negate your last attack. Right? Well, then now you pay 4, 2 blue, 2 green to play her from your energy area. Now you deal your opponent 1 damage, right, from her effect. Because now they're at 1 because they took a life from the sparking effect. Something of that nature. Or if you're in a scenario where your opponent has 3 life and you're swinging and they stop the first 2 attacks, but then the last attack they can't stop, so they take the double strike damage, but they still have 1 life left, then just bring out Android 21 Bad Omen and finish them off, right? Basic stuff. Manaka gives your leader double strike and you draw a card so it replaces itself, so pretty much getting double strike for free. Bigger more, Dormant already mentioned those, Raditz and them. Board wipe and Majin Buu, Kabuto Kai, absorbed. There for extra defense, it's essentially a green baby Hachiyak, so active main / battle ability, pay 2, play this card from your hand, and your opponent can't attack with battle cards for the turn. So you can obviously, if your opponent attacks with their leader or Unicef, for example, pay 2, throw an active battle, drop this bad boy, and make it where your opponent can't attack with their battle cards. And pretty much get that extra turn. And it is a 40k double strike. So obviously you can take advantage of that. So you can try to use it to go for game. And if this is not enough to send your opponent out, or they manage to survive, then just, you know, start swinging with the leader, right? And that's the end of the video.